What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off this upcoming week, there's a lot of things coming out data point wise, but in reality, there's two things to really watch for. One of which is the election. So that is coming out on the 5th. So on Tuesday. That no doubtably is going to shake the broader market. And then aside from that, you actually do have the interest rate decision. Forecast right now is 25 basis points. A lot of analysts are starting to say, with all of the good data that's been coming out, unemployment lower than anticipated, so came in at 4.1 versus 4.2. That happened on Friday. There's no real reason to cut rates. So potentially, if there isn't any cut, I feel like the market is really going to panic sell because of that. And so essentially you have those two things, and like I mentioned, a couple others, but it is going to come back onto that and companies unveiling their earnings. And yours truly is Thursday after hours. Regrettably, it doesn't even make the top 10, I guess, popular ones, but nonetheless, a couple big ones throughout the week that could really cause some volatility. In Lucid's case, though, this is what the estimates are. So negative 31 cents for the earnings per share, 205.18 million for the revenue. So this one actually did revert back to 205. So I don't think Seeking Alpha has updated it. What I brought up in my last video through IBKR, I think it has been reverted to 195. So we'll just wait and see. Probably this will be updated on Monday. But aside from that though, so the earnings per share does represent a negative 24.25% year-over-year growth. Low end is negative 32, high is 30, and that's based on 3 analyst expectations. And for the revenue, 3 analysts, and that does represent a 48.88% year-over-year growth, and that being the 205. So yeah, it is going to come back to the earnings. And as I've mentioned in the past, I think Lucid might get a pass this earnings based on the revenue, especially considering they did disclose it being kind of on the high end around 200. I think they mentioned low of 190, but the market's just going to care about future guidance. What is Lucid truly up to? And so, like I said, I think it's all going to come down to that, and the earnings per share and stuff, it's more going to be secondary. Plus, the market's going to be trying to digest elections, interest rates. So much is coming out on that same day. So I don't know if Lucid did that strategically just to kind of divert attention away from their earnings, but something to keep in mind. Shorts will be very active based on pretty much everything. So going into this upcoming week, 19.66% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 234.33 million shares. Just on Friday alone, shorts did increase 382,000 shares. Cost to borrow minimum is negative, so that does mean there is a broker out there physically paying people to short Lucid. So there is some trying to drum up business essentially, but based on this upcoming week, you can kind of see just the implied move is around 14.1%. So both positive or negative. So a lot of volatility is anticipated. And like I said, I think a lot of that is going to come back onto their future guidance. So even looking back at other earnings, as you can kind of see right here, this shows the, I guess, 2 weeks prior, 1 week, and all up to pretty much the day of, and the results. We already do know Lucid, they give bad future guidance, and I think they tend to just rant about technology. And I think Lucid management, they are really focused on, and they think that the market wants technology, and the market just sees them not as a tech play, right? So I think it's just more of a gap between just what Lucid is thinking versus the market. But overall, kind of a wall of red post earnings. So yeah, you kind of see from here onwards, just generally they sell off, with exception of one time. Their last one ended up 8.33% up over the last 2 weeks, but still, I think this time around, there's a lot of negatives really working against it. Them unveiling the Gravity is also going to be occurring on the 7th. And so hopefully they do some sort of official launch or something like that. As far as I'm aware, I don't think they're doing anything, nothing special for the Gravity. So it just might be a couple pictures, post on social media or something like that. But like I said, just anticipate 14.1% for kind of a swing in either direction. So adjust your options accordingly. Based on this though, so looking at the open interest, you kind of see a consensus for it to be kind of on the low end. Even the bulls are anticipating for around 250, so not much upside. And then looking at the puts, so the bears, people are anticipating for it to be sub 2. So like I said, I think just the technicals going into this upcoming week as well are rather bad. I've been bringing this up time and time again. So it is below the ALMA, below all the key moving averages. So 50, 100, 200. The only thing that people generally bring up, even Zacks did put Lucid as a buy, and it is simply because of stochastic RSI just being very oversold, which yes, it is something, but that's more of a support indicator. So stocks generally don't go up just because of it being oversold. It needs to be coupled with either a good catalyst or another indicator that is showing bullishness. And right now, even the MACD is fairly bearish. Leading into this week, though, the Elliott Wave Technicals was projecting for it to hit between that $1.80 to $1.97 range. And it has a pivot point of $2.76. So something to kind of consider. And plus, as a byproduct of the earnings, you'll get a lot new analyst ratings. So depending on what happens, that could really move it, especially when this $4 one did come out. The market kind of saw that as a positive, so caused Lucid to go up that day. Of course, because at where Lucid is, $4 is seen as a pretty good return on investment. As a consensus though, $3.05 is the average, and that does represent a 38.64% upside. So like I said, a lot of people are somewhat divided. Some people are saying that Lucid is going to be heading towards $1 and potentially reverse stock split territory. And then some people are saying that this is the buy of the century, that it is going to go to, some people are even saying $30 by the end of 2025. So I think you're on a very key pivot operationally for Lucid, and it will all come back down onto this earnings. So let me know your thoughts. As far as where I personally do see things going, I like Lucid's product. This is why, as I've stated with you, I still cover it, but I don't really have that warm fuzzy feeling from Peter. Honestly, I think that's a good way to put it. I don't trust Peter, like, especially some people can kind of catch on to the amount of stuttering that he does do. It's a very good kind of indication that he's not comfortable or either is negative. So that's kind of his poker face or his tell essentially. So I think a lot of people are going to be really paying attention to kind of subtle nuances such as that. But like I said, I think I just don't have trust in Lucid's management. Their marketing is crap. And something, I can't put my finger on it, but something sketchy is truly happening with this right here. It just doesn't seem right that these are the questions that retail always wants to bring forward. It just seems like lowball. So once again, I know I've stated this in the past, but this is just my opinion. I think Lucid is just putting these questions forth, and the individuals who have a lot of shares, aka Peter and some other individuals, are just upvoting this based on some of their shares, because right out the gate, this question by Paul had like 3 million shares pretty much day one. It just doesn't make sense. That's not logical. And I don't think most retail that's been in Lucid for a while already knows that they've talked on all of this. This is what Lucid loves to talk on, is the future. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm just rather disappointed in retail in general. But then again, heavy retail stocks usually brings shorts. So that's why shorts are all over Lucid, because that way they can pretty much take retail's money pretty easily. So yeah, this is just my thoughts. So generally, I think that Lucid is going to trend down slightly. As far as some support and resistance points in the short term, so with it right now at $2.20, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 264 will be the next strong resistance / target. 214, $1.83, and $1.32 will be strong support points. In my opinion, I think it's just going to trade between most likely the S2 and S1. Again, there's a lot of different other kind of factors that's going to play into that. So you also have the elections, interest rates, companies unveiling their earnings, so a lot of big names as well. So SMCI is going to be a hot one that a lot of people watch for, because kind of borderline fraud might be going on. So we'll just, yeah, we'll have to wait and see exactly how that all plays out. So let me know your thoughts. Throw your price predictions in the comments below on where you feel Lucid is going to be by the end of the week. And what do you think the biggest factor is going to be? Do you think it's going to be elections, interest rates, or Lucid's own earnings? So let me know your thoughts. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. And 2 things I want to share with you. Take advantage of this promo because it is free shares and free is amazing. So this gives you 8 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. And then over and above that, I did launch membership. So if you like the channel, want to support the growth, you can definitely join as a member. So with all that, appreciate all of you watching.